Shabbat Shalom, Chag Purim Sameach, everybody. Happy Purim. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Temple Shalom Emeth in Burlington, Massachusetts. I'm Rabbi Susan Abramson, and I'm joined by our Cantorial Soloist, Ben Silver, who will be conducting the musical portions of the service this evening. Purim is a very special holiday. As many of you know, we read the Book of Esther. It's the story about how Queen Esther and her cousin Mordecai saved the Jews by foiling a plot by the evil Haman, who wanted to destroy our people. It all took place in Shushan centuries ago in the land of Persia, and we celebrate this very special holiday. It's a joyous occasion because we were able to overcome our oppressors and survive. We twirl groggers every time we hear Haman's name because we want to blot him out from our lives. We eat delicious Hamantaschen, which are three-cornered cookies which resemble Haman's hat. Later on, we're going to do a special Purim Shpiel, or a modern interpretation that I wrote of the Book of Esther, and hopefully you'll get a sense of the story from that. We have some very, very special guest stars who you'll see during the Shpiel. We've got lots of people from the congregation, particularly kids participating. Should be a very joyous occasion. So Shabbat Shalom. Take it away, Ben Silver.
I'm Ben Silver, Cantorial Soloist here at Temple Shalom Emeth, and happy to welcome you to our Friday night Purim service and our Purim Shpiel that we'll be putting on during this service. Very excited about that. And I'd like to start off by singing a song about our favorite Purim villain, Haman, and I know that you will recognize this song, except that we've changed the words a little bit because, as we all know, this past year has been marked by the pandemic, which has made life very different and very difficult for all of us, but we're getting through it. But you may not know this, but the name of the original virus of the pandemic was Haman. This is a song about Haman. Oh, once there was a virus of a man, and Haman was his name. He tried infecting all the Jews, though they were not to blame, sir. Oh, today we'll healthy be. Masks and social distancing is key. Wash your hands from germs, we'll be free. Then nosh some Hamantaschen. And Esther was the lovely queen of King Ahasuerus. When Haman said he'd wipe us out, that virus, it did scare us. Oh, today we'll healthy be. Masks and social distancing is key. Wash your hands from germs, we'll be free. Then nosh some Hamantaschen. But Mordecai, her cousin bold, said, what a dreadful chutzpah. We'd better get a vaccine, either Pfizer or Moderna. Oh, today we'll healthy be. Masks and social distancing is key. Wash your hands from germs, we will be free. Then nosh some Hamantaschen. When Esther, speaking to the king of Haman's plot, made mention, oh no, said he, I won't let him spread further his infection. Oh, today we'll healthy be. Masks and social distancing is key. Wash your hands from germs, we'll be free. Then nosh some Hamantaschen. Oh, today we'll healthy be. Masks and social distancing is key. Wash your hands from germs, we will be free. Then nosh some Hamantaschen.
This is Wolf Blintzes of SNN, the Shushan News Network. We have breaking news. Cantorial soloist Ben Silver, Temple Shalom Emeth in Burlington, Massachusetts, inadvertently revealed the top secret, highly classified information that it was the evil Haman who wanted to get rid of all the Jews in the Purim story, who is the original source of the coronavirus. I am joined now by my squeaky clean co-anchor, Dana Vashtehans.
Dr. Mordefauci of MIT, the Megillah Institute of Technology, just confirmed that Haman had actually originally named this deadly disease the Kova virus. Kova is Hebrew for hat, apparently named after his three-pointed hat, the same shape as Hamantaschen cookies.
Apparently, this scandalous revelation provoked Haman to leave his Batcave headquarters in Iran, which used to be Persia. He has now invaded Temple Shalom Emeth and turned Ben Silver and Rabbi Abramson into Hamantaschen. I repeat, Ben Silver and Rabbi Abramson are now Hamantaschen.
Sources are now telling us that everyone leading the Purim service with them have also been turned into Hamantaschen as payback for letting this deeply held secret see the light of day. I'm actually starting to feel a little crunchy myself.
Do not be alarmed. Anonymous sources are now telling me that the service will go on.
More on this mouth-watering development later in this broadcast. Service.
This is Wolf Blintzes.
And this is Dana Vashti Hands.
Wishing you Shabbat Shalom.
Oh my God, Cantor Ben, are you okay? You're looking a little, baked.
Well, it's a little bit harder to play the guitar at the moment, I think. Are you okay to continue with the service?
Well, the heroes of the Purim story, Mordecai and Esther, taught us that we should stand up for our rights as Jews. They didn't let that mean Haman stop them, and neither should we. The service must go on.
That sounds like the right thing to do.
So now we continue our service with the singing of Lecha Dodi, welcoming the Sabbath bride on page 138.
Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala. Please don't eat my Hamantaschen, or I'll cry, or I'll cry. Yes, I'll cry, or I'll cry. Pnei Shabbat, Nikabila.
Are you sure you're okay? I don't think that's how the song goes. Why don't we just continue with the lighting of the Shabbat candles on page 120? I'd like to invite the Lepo family to light the candles this evening.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu ha'knesher Shabbat. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. אמן, 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 אמן,
We continue with our call to worship the Baruch Hu on page 146. Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due, now and forever.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamavorach. Baruch Adonai Hamavorach Leolam Vaed.
We continue now with the Shema, the watchword of our Jewish faith, on pages 152 and 153.
Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. We now continue with the V'ahavta prayer on page 154.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha, uv'chol nafshecha, uv'chol me'odecha, v'chayu ha'dvarim ha'elech asher anochi mitzavucha hayom al levavecha. You shall love Adonai your God with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a symbol upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorsteps of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of my mitzvot and do them. Thus you will become holy with your God. I, Adonai, am your God, who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I, Adonai, your God.
We now continue with the singing of Mi Chamocha, the song of freedom the Israelites sang when they crossed the Red Sea to escape from Pharaoh's grip, on page 158.
Mi chamocha, Ba'elim Adonai, free me from this lamentation, or I'll cry, or I'll cry, or I'll cry, yes I'll cry. Mi chamocha, nedar bakodesh.
Thanks, Ben. That's not exactly how that song is supposed to go, but I think we'll just continue as we rise for the tefillah on page 164.
Na 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 na, I'll tell you why. Na 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 na, Haman's an evil guy. Na 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 na, I feel like a pie. 'Cause now we all are hamantashen.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Those aren't quite the words to the song, but let's just continue with the vote on page 166.
Baruch atah Adonai Elokeinu v'Elokei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzhak, v'Elokei Yaakov, Elokei Sarah, Elokei Rivka, Elokei Rachel, v'Elokei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanara, El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Asdei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'Nechem, Lama'an Shemo Ba'achava, Melech Ozer Umashia Umagain, Baruch Atah Adonai Magain Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah.
Gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol atara lehoshia, mechalkel hayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umakayim emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al giburot, umidom elach, Melech Meimi Umchayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman Ata Lehachiot HaKol Baruch Ata Adonai Mechayeh HaKol.
We continue with Shalom Rav, a song for peace, page 178.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Ki Atahu Melech Adon L'chol HaShalom B'tov Be'enecha Levarech Et Amcha Yisrael B'chol Eit U'v'chol Sha'a B'Shlomecha Baruch Atah Adonai Hamvarech Et Amcha Yisrael B'Shalom.
We now continue with Osei Shalom, a song for peace, on page 180.
Osei Shalom Bimromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. v'yakol Yisrael v'imru amen. Ose shalom bimromav u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Ose shalom bimromav u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
We pause for a moment of silent prayer.
This is Wolf Blintzes coming to you from SNN, the Shushan News Network. We have breaking news. Dr. Mordefauci is here to tell us how the Jews of Persia were all saved from a deadly pandemic. Dr. Mordefauci, so nice of you to join us.
Toda Rabbah. Thank you, Wolf. I wanted to tell you what happened to the Jews of Shushan when they lived under a clueless king named Ahasuerus. I can finally share the truth so everyone knows that they need to take precautions so they won't be in danger of getting infected again. The king had bats in his belfry, if you know what I mean. He was so clueless that even though all the symptoms of the pandemic were all around him, he had no idea that anything bad might happen.
That's unbelievable. I can't imagine a ruler being that clueless.
Yes, well, unfortunately, it is true. It was only through a lot of persuasion on my part that we were finally able to defeat the pandemic. But don't take my word for it. Watch this YouTube video. It starts off with the king's first wife, Queen Vashti Hans. She was very clean, always wore a mask, and the king couldn't stand it.
We now take you to the kingdom of Shushan for a first-hand look at what's happening.
Oh, Queenie, I'm going to have a wild party for all of my many friends and associates throughout Persia to celebrate how awesome I am. I want you to dance for everyone so they can all see what a beautiful wife I have.
Are you crazy? Do you know how many germs you will spread by having all of those people so close together? And what's with all these bats flying all over the place?
Germs? What's that? I don't want to spread jealousy that I have the most beautiful queen and they don't. And for once, you'll need to take off that dumb mask. It looks ridiculous.
No way am I helping you hold a super spreader event, and no way am I exposing myself to germs by taking off my mask.
What? No one dares to say no to me, the greatest king of all time. Vashti hands, Vashti them somewhere else. You're out of here.
Thank God, I will finally be free of this toxic environment.
Oy vey. I need a new queen I can show off to everyone.
I'm now joined with Dr. Mordefauci and his cousin, Dr. Esther Hadassah.
I could see that I suddenly had an opportunity to make a positive difference in the course of this pandemic. So I encouraged my cousin Esther, who happened to be in a bubble with me, to apply for the job. Esther has a PhD in infectious diseases from MIT, the Megillah Institute of Technology. She's also a psychiatrist with a specialty in narcissistic disorders in kings.
Yes, my thesis happened to be on why rulers with bats in their belfries, their heads, can spread diseases and how to stop them.
So as you can see, it was of extreme importance that she apply for this position. I advised her not to tell the king that she was Jewish, since the king had mentioned that there were some very fine people who didn't like Jews.
Oi, that's terrible. I can't wait to hear what happened next.
Well, I went for an interview. Actually, it was more of a beauty pageant. I knew from my analysis of the king's behavior that if I presented myself in the most appealing way, I had a 72% chance of being chosen. That's high times 4.
We happen to have a clip of the beauty pageant here.
Nope, she's a 3. Ugh, no, duh, she's a 4. Definitely no.
Well, hello, Kingy.
Hubba, hubba. Hey, sweetheart. You are the most beautiful girl ever. I've never seen anything like it. I choose you to be my new queen.
Thank you so much, Your Highness. I promise you I'll do whatever I can to help the kingdom.
I've never even seen anyone like you before. A perfect 10. You're going to be the best queen in the history of Shushan for sure.
So I'm waiting for Esther at the palace gate when I notice that 2 of the king's guards are coughing and sneezing and not wearing masks. I quickly put on an extra N95 and goggles in case they breathed in my direction. I could hear what they were saying.
And we now take you to the palace gate.
Hey, Teresh, I'm sick of guarding this king. Let's go give him a bad case of the virus.
Great idea, Big Thin. We'll breathe all over him. It's the perfect crime since he won't start feeling symptoms for at least 3 days. He doesn't think any of this is real anyway.
What did you do?
I knew that if those 2 knuckleheads carried out their plan, they would spread aerosols all throughout the palace. So I called Shushan's police chief, Mike Kent.
Yeah, I sent a couple of my officers over there to arrest them. They were ornery little devils, no masks. They tried to breathe all over us, but we cuffed them, stuffed them, and put them in the slammer. Then I got in touch with Shushan District Attorney Marion Ryan to prosecute them on the charge of treason and the high crime of viral transmission.
Yes, that's correct. We presented an airtight case against Big Thin and Teresh, largely based on Dr. Mort Tabauchi's testimony. I'm happy to report that they were both convicted and permanently quarantined, with no chance of parole, if you know what I mean. And the case itself was recorded in the Royal Record Book.
Thank God they were caught in the nick of time. Well, I guess that's the end of the story.
I wish it was, but that was just the beginning of our problems. For whatever reason, the king suddenly promoted this evil guy, blaming Haman, to be his royal advisor.
Sounds awful. What happened next?
It is hard to believe, so let me show you the evidence in this video clip.
Hey, King. The name's Blamin' Haman. Make me your new chief of staff, and I promise to blame everyone for the pandemic except you.
Sounds good to me. I know there are a lot of sick people around here. Can't figure out why, though. All I know is that it is definitely not my fault. You have my permission to blame whoever you want.
Morta Fauci, I am requesting that everyone in the kingdom is blamed for somebody other than the king for the pandemic. Now bow down and swear that you will agree with whatever and whoever I blame.
Well, I wish I could do that, but scientific data suggests that if the king had warned everyone in the kingdom that there was a very contagious virus going around that could make them sick, and that everyone needed to wear a mask, wash their hands, and stay 6 feet apart, a lot more people would be healthy. Anyway, Jews only bow before God.
This is an outrage! No one contradicts Blamin' Haman! Since you are Jewish, I'm going to blame the Jews for the pandemic. I will now go to the king and request that a law will be passed on the 13th day of the month of Adar. All the Jews shall be permanently quarantined.
Excuse me, Haman. Wait a minute. This is Shushan State Representative Ken Gordon. I guess I got redistricted. But in any case, look, you can't just pass a law because you want a law. I mean, even the king's not above the law. Well, maybe he is, but I don't think he is. Anyway, look, you got to go before the Shushan legislature. You got to file a bill, you got to have a hearing, you got to have witnesses. I mean, people have to come and talk about these things. If they think that what you're trying to do, lie to the community, is a good idea, okay, fine. But I think they're going to find that you can't lie to all of the people all of the time. I think you might find that they may even try to overthrow the king. So you got to go to the legislature. What's that? There is no Shushan legislature that won't be invented yet for a couple thousand years. Hang on just a minute. You mean Even the Roman Senate's not invented yet? Oh. All right, you know what? Maybe you don't have to go to the legislature after all, but think about it. It might be a good idea.
Rubbish! King authorized me to pass a law blaming the Jews for the pandemic. You know they have been shooting bats into the kingdom from outer space? That's how they brought the virus here.
What? Sounds about right. Here, take my ring. It's made out of fake gold. It's the least I can do for my all-time favorite advisor. There's never been anyone like you in the history of Shushan.
This is unbelievable.
As you can imagine, I was quite upset. Of course, the Jews don't shoot bats from space. You can't blame Jews for a virus which clearly originated in China.
Oh, this is terrible news. What happened next?
Well, I was so upset that I tore my clothes and put ashes on my head and went out into the middle of the city, where there is a much lower chance of viral transmissions. I sent a prescription to all the Jews in the kingdom to do the same, wearing masks and social distancing, of course.
When my cousin sent me a letter or email, I sent him a PPE, Purim pants from Esther. I knew that his immunity would be lowered if he wasn't dressed appropriately outside.
Yes, I was too upset at the time to put them on, but I was able to send her back an email about what Blame and Haman was aiming to do. I told her that if she didn't tell the king to stop him and his law, she would be put in permanent quarantine along with the rest of the Jews.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. Dr. Esther, did you do it?
I sent Dr. Mordefauci a text saying that it was forbidden to go to see the king if he didn't PM or Purim message me first. But I had to put an end to this potential pandemic, so I promised to go to see the king to save my people. And if he infects me, he infects me. Here's a surveillance video of what happened next.
Well, if it isn't my all-time favorite queen. But what's with the mask? I don't get why everyone seems to be wearing masks these days. It looks ridiculous.
If it pleases your highness, I would like to invite you to a special banquet I am prepared for you and your advisor, Blim and Haman. I'm serving all your favorite foods, cheeseburgers and french fries from McGill-Donald's and a bucket of chicken wings from KFC, Kugel fried chicken.
What? All my favorite foods at once? We will definitely be there. Sounds like it's going to be the best feast in the history of Shushan.
Well, that will certainly harden your arteries in a hurry.
Yes, not that I was intentionally trying to shorten the king's lifespan, but he doesn't believe in healthy eating. So after they were stuffed, I invited them to a second banquet the next day. I figured we'd do Chinese takeout. We Jews know that you can't go wrong with Chinese.
Yes, but in the meantime, Blame and Haman built gallows 50 cubits high to hang me for the crime of being a Jew.
This is so hard to believe.
I know, it's true, but fortunately, things started to turn around when the king couldn't get to sleep that night. Here, we have surveillance video from the king's chamber.
Oh, I shouldn't have eaten so many cheeseburgers. I don't know why the Shushan Bowl winners, the Shushan Bay Buccaneers, refused to come to the party. I guess they didn't like my politics. So I had to eat all their food. Servant, distract me by reading something great about me.
Well, Your Royal Highness, it says here in your royal record book that a man named Dr. Mordefauci saved your life by informing the kingdom's DA that 2 guards wanted to infect you with a terrible virus.
What? This is the greatest thing anyone has done in the history of the kingdom. Was anything done to reward him?
No, Your Highness.
Well, let's ask Blame and Haman.
I can't wait to tell the king about my plan to hang Mordefauci. I'm sure he'll love it.
Oh, Blame and Haman. Just the fellow I wanted to see. How should we honor the greatest man in the history of the kingdom? Myself excluded, of course.
The king is obviously talking about me. Well, we should dress him in the finest royal clothes, put on the fanciest crown on his head, parade him around the town on the finest horse for all to see. That should do just fine.
You always come up with the greatest ideas. Go do all that for Dr. Mordefauci.
But But your highness, aren't I the greatest man of the history of the kingdom? Second to you, of course.
Just do it, blaming Haman. And I'll see you at Esther's Chinese buffet banquet. All the spare ribs you can eat. Oh, I don't feel so good.
Sounds like the king needs to get his eating under control.
Well, the good news is that during the banquet, I found a way to convince the king that there was actually a problem, and that if he didn't stop blaming Haman, there would be many people who would actually get even worse than just sick. Here, listen in.
Yum. I have to say, these are the best spare ribs in the history of Shushan. And this wonton soup, it's to die for.
Your Highness, I am afraid I must inform you of some very unpleasant news. Your advisor, Blaman Haman, wants to infect all of the Jews in the kingdom with the deadly Kova virus.
What's that? Never heard of it.
Kova. It means hat in Hebrew. It's named after Blaman Haman's crazy three-pointed hat. I didn't want to tell you this, but I am also a Jew, and he will infect me too, and who knows when you'll have another meal like this.
This is an outrage. Blaming Haman, I'm blaming you for this. My queenie would never tell me fake news. I'm putting you in quarantine for the rest of your life. I'm immediately vaccinating all the Jews in the kingdom, starting with my beautiful queenie, so none of them get sick.
Highness, didn't you hear the rumors that the Jews are shooting diseased bats into the kingdom from outer space?
Oh, please, even I'm not dumb enough to believe that. Bring me more to Fauci. I'm going to make him my new royal advisor, and I will listen to his advice.
So you see, this is how all the Jews in the kingdom were saved. I immediately got them vaccines, masks, and hand sanitizer. They had a big party, socially distanced, each one of them in their own homes to be safe. We declared that every year on the 14th day of the Hebrew month of Adar, that the Jews would rejoice in an appropriate fashion with food, wine, sending gifts to each other, and sending food to the poor.
Such a great story and such an important lesson for today. Listen to your doctors, wear a mask, stay 6 feet apart, wash your hands, and don't let bad guys get into power. Signing off, this is Wolf Blintzes for Shushan Network News.
Late breaking news, Wolf! Temple President Shelley Lippman has just arrived at the temple with her super spreader Purell spritzer. She has spritzed the rabbi and the cantor, the whole building and everyone in sight.
Don't worry, I'll save you. I'll save you. Don't worry, I'll rescue you.
Coming back to normal.
Looks like all have been decontaminated and are back to normal.
Well, this certainly is a huge relief, particularly for the members of the Temple Shalom Emeth community. This will be a truly joyous Purim indeed. This is Wolf Blintzes.
And this is Dana Vashti-Hen saying,
Shabbat Shalom and Happy Purim!
We now continue with the Aleinu. On page 586. Please rise if you are able.
Aleinu lishabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומשה יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, והארץ מתחת. אין עוד.
Page 591.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. אחד ושמו אחד. אחד ושמו אחד.
We now continue with the introduction to the Kaddish prayer on page 598. We think now of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. We recall Bill Waldron, who died during this past month, and we add to his name the names of those whose yahrzeits or anniversary of whose deaths occur this week. Jerry Decker, Margaret Standley, Sandra Trapasso, Donald Bloomfield, Shirley Handflig, Norman Simon, Barbara Eisenstein, Helen M. Safford, Sylvia Rippin, Arnold Grossman, Edith Cohen Gillette, Michael Holmes. This week we reached a very grim milestone in our nation's history. Over 500,000 people have now died of the coronavirus since the beginning of the pandemic. All of them are in our hearts and our minds at this moment. We also think of all of those who lost their lives during the horrible storm that hit Texas this past week. And at this time, you may name other loved ones or friends or relatives who you'd like us to keep in our hearts and our minds as we prepare to recite the Kaddish prayer. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing. You may rise in body or in spirit as we turn to page 598 to recite the Kaddish prayer. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei rabbah, v'yalmad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayichon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'yizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach l'olam olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudashah barichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'al kol toshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to our country, to all Israel and all the world, as we say together, Amen. You may be seated.
Shabbat Shalom, members of the TSE community. 1 year ago, we held our last in-person Shabbat service with last year's Purim Shpiel. When we shifted to a virtual environment, I don't think any of us thought we'd still be doing so a year later. But we've survived. In fact, we've thrived. This is due to so many people stepping up, from the rabbi with directing and producing the weekly YouTube services, to Cantor Ben providing our wonderful music, to the religious school committee creating a meaningful Jewish education for our children, and to all of the members who've taken on additional roles to help out. We even have members working to prepare for when we return in person. Bob Eisenstein and the House Committee are improving our facilities, and Jeremy Kasanoff and the Reopening Committee are creating a framework for procedures we'll follow as we meet in person. A big thank you to everyone. We are hoping to meet in person again soon. I can't wait. Shabbat Shalom.
I would now like to invite Ben Einseidler, our religious school director, on this occasion better known as Bernie Ein Sanders, to lead us in the Kaddish, and that will be followed by Ellen Finkelman leading us in the Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagofen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvosav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodshoi v'chava u'ratzon chinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tehila lemikra kodesh, zecher letzias Mitzrayim, Givanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha b'yahava u'ratzon hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
I'd like to thank everybody who helped to create this Purim Shpiel this evening, all of those who participated in the Shpiel itself, including our special guests, Middlesex District Attorney Marion Ryan, State Representative Ken Gordon, and our Burlington Police Chief Mike Kent, who joined in the fun. And thank you so much to Ben Silver, as always, and to all of the kids and everybody who participated to make this service so special. So Shabbat Shalom and Chag Purim Sameach. We conclude our service this evening with the singing of Chag Purim, an all-time favorite, which is going to be followed by the end of our Purim Shpiel from last year, which was the greatest show on earth. So you're going to be able to see our confirmation class from last year singing the finale, along with lots of pictures from last year's Purim service and Purim Carnival. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Purim Sameach.
Chag Purim, Chag Gadol hu laYehudim, Masechot, Rosh Hashanim, Zerot Rikudim, Havana Risha, Havana Risha, Havana Risha, Purim Day, it's a happy holiday. We make noise with our toys, sing and dance and play. Let's hear the groggers rock, rock, rock. Let's hear the groggers rock, rock, rock. Let's hear the groggers rock, rock, rock. When they sing. Together, 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 we are one. Together, together. Come on, Jews, have some fun. Together, we're here for each other at Purim time. Together, together, come on, let's do this right. Here and now, it's time for celebration. Catching Esther and Haman's invitation. That's what you are all about. Mordecai is special in his own way. He made our people strong. We're not the same, we're different in a good way. Together's where we belong. Jews have some fun. Together, we're here for each other at Purim time. Together, together, come on, let's do this right. We're all in this together. Once we know that we're all stars, and we see that we're all in this together. And it shows when we stand hand in hand, make our dreams come